welcome to my channel. My name is Jules and I am a professional model turned content creator. I used to be a nomad. Literally, I paid for an apartment in Houston, where I'm from, and I was never there. It was kind of odd. I started modeling pretty much straight out of high school, and we're doing my skincare in this video. I'm obsessed with Beauty of Nile. Beauty of the Nile. Their stuff has been so good for my skin the last month that I've been using it. And they're actually about to start a new social media channel, kind of like Twitter, but for people of color and minorities focused. So that way it's a little bit more of a safe place for us. Anyways, I'm excited. Their products are amazing, and Yelling Ant seems to be run by a really awesome group of people. So I'm excited that I'm going to get the opportunity to work with them. Anyways, back to my story. So I pretty much started modeling right out of high school. I had cancer, which I'll talk about in my next video. And had just finished having my surgery and had to drop out of college my freshman year. And I was having a hard time kind of like finding work, which I guess is typical because I went from being on a walker to then being on crutches. And then pre the walker, I was like in a wheelchair. So it was like this whole thing. Anyways, so I went with a friend to a photo shoot that she was having with this like really talented photographer and videographer. Like his brother is a fashion designer whose stuff has been in Paris Fashion Week and Milan Fashion Week. And her hair and makeup wasn't ready. So I started to take just a few quick photos, and that was my first photo shoot ever. It was just these really simple headshots that I did. They were literally maybe 5 photos. Anyways, I got this guy's number and kind of stayed in touch, and I kind of started working with him on projects that his fashion models and agency models couldn't do because they were a little more risque, topless, things like that. And I worked with him on a few projects and even worked with his brother, which was really awesome. We were on the news in Houston. It was funny. And then I met this other lady through him who did a lot of fashion modeling at the time. And she told me about this website called Model Mayhem. And she said that where we were in Houston had a lot of photographers who hire models on there, and she like kind of recommended that I go on and kind of attempt to network because I didn't really know what I was doing. And it was pretty interesting the first year or so. And then this other model came into town from, well, she was a nomad too. Well, she came into town and she stayed with me for what was supposed to be 3 days, but it actually ended up being 3 weeks. And she kind of revamped my Model Mayhem, and she showed me about Facebook groups about modeling, and she told me about kind of how to network and try and connect with other people who are in the industry. And I kind of took her advice, and less than 6 months later, I did my first out-of-state tour, which was amazing, and that was in Oklahoma. And then I started to go further away, mostly by car. I started to travel places that were like plane needed eventually, probably around 2017, 2018. My first big model trip outside of the South was Washington, D.C. And she was like, you should do Washington, D.C. because there's a lot of people with a lot of money there, and it's a big hub, and there's studios. So I took her advice, and that trip was crazy in good ways and bad ways, but I kept going. And then I started to really get into traveling all the time. It's all I did from 22 until 29 when I stopped last year when I started dating my fiance and moved to Buffalo, New York. I just felt like I was in a different part of my life and I didn't want to be gone all the time. I just spent all of my 20s being gone. And I mean, I literally went to 40 states in 1 year at one point in 2022. It was genuinely crazy. um, but I just decided I wanted to stop. And so last year, or I guess this year, it was the first year in my whole adult life really that I was in one place, and I was here in Buffalo, New York, and it was amazing. I experienced 4 seasons for the first time, spent a lot of time in snow, um, and yeah, that's really what I wanted to talk about in this video. I just wanted to kind of introduce myself and give a little bit of information on like who I am. I'm not really a full-time model anymore. I still do photo shoots in person and remotely. I'm gonna do another video on remote shoots, but basically it's where the photographer uses, like, they're not there in the room or even in the same city sometimes, or state or country, but basically it's just where they control my camera. It's actually my fiance's camera, using this fancy software that gives them the ability to change, the focal point and the settings, and I mirror it through Zoom, and then they kind of communicate with me, and we take really beautiful, amazing photos. It's really crazy. I didn't really spend much time doing it this last year. It got really big during COVID. And so yeah, I'll insert some photos of that um now, I guess. So anyways, yeah, that's what my remote photo shoots are like. The first ones, I didn't know anything about cameras or anything about what I was doing really, so they weren't absolutely amazing, and everyone was really patient, and they still worked with me while I figured all of the kinks out. But I don't know, I do my remote shoots now, and I am now a content creator. I have a lot of crazy stories to share from when I modeled full time that I'm excited to talk about, from kidnapping attempts um, to being stranded in Alabama in a car that's about to blow up, and shooting with multimillionaires in their beautiful mansions in upstate New York, and being in crazy, creepy basements with weird people who I probably shouldn't have met on the internet and worked with, but whatever, I was young and new. And I hope you guys stick around to hear some of the stories, because I'm excited to finally get some of this off my chest. Okay, thanks. Bye.